Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another speed build. It's time for another mansion, of course it is, but I decided to build on a 50 by 40 lot this time. So my last builds were all created on 64 by 64 lots, and I figured it would be time to tone it down a bit and to build a slightly smaller house. And I say slightly because actually I played myself here. This isn't really smaller. Like the house itself, the interior is like huge. And it was a lot of work to furnish this. Like, I don't know, it just, I think when I was building on 64 by 64 lots, I just used more space for landscaping. So I don't know, just played myself here. But I hope that it's still great for you guys, because this is a different lot size, and if you want to place this lot, you don't have to replace another build, maybe, I don't know. But I built this in Delso Valley, and I actually treated that I really had to hold myself back to not place this on a 64 by 64 lot, because I don't know, I just wished I had more space for landscaping. But I don't know, it's more compact, the whole garden area, it's really compact, and it just makes sense, I guess. So it was a lot of fun to build this, and it's a different lot size for once. I was browsing Pinterest and I saw a picture of a really scenic home, a family home, I don't know, and this is where I took inspiration from. I just really love this kind of style. I also really love suburban kind of homes. This is not really suburbia. Like, I've talked about this before. Like, in my world, in my reality, suburbia is like different from real life suburbia. Like, my version of suburbia is like the Desperate Housewives kind of suburbia. So this is more luxurious, so this is not really suburban, but I'm talking about this really, really dreamy kind of feel when it comes to family homes or mansions. And sometimes I try to build a house like this and it's just not working, but here for some reason it was just working wonderfully. I just hit the nail on the head as soon as I started to work on this build, and I combined different colors and shapes. I just felt like this is the type of dreamy home that I want to create. And I've talked about this before. Sometimes I want to create a specific build. I have a vision in my head or just like a certain style, and when I start to work on the build, it's just not working. So it just doesn't come along. It just doesn't look or feel right. And I have tried to build a really similar house like a couple of weeks ago, but it just didn't look right. And here it just happened. So sometimes you just can't force a certain style. Sometimes you just build and it happens and you have a lot of fun. And yeah, this is kind of how this build came about. I decided to go for a really, really simple color scheme. I wanted to use a lot of white on the exterior. So this is just some wood paneling, and I used this base game roof swatch. I think it's base game. So this just looks so dreamy. If you want to create a house like this is like the most simple and most dreamy color combination. I also used a bit of rock here and there, and for this I used a wallpaper that is part of the bowling stuff pack, and I've used this wallpaper in the past. I don't know, it just looks so dreamy for anything really suburban and just this type of family home feel. It's just the perfect wallpaper. It comes in different colors. There are different swatches, and this one is like, it has a slightly pink undertone almost, and it's just perfect. I can totally recommend to use it. And here I was using half walls to create trellis on the left side, and I also used half walls behind the roof in the front. So there's a problem when you want to use a fence. The fence simply disappears and is not showing when you just place it right at the edge of a roof. But later on I was able to fix this by pulling in the eaves. So then I was replacing one of the half walls and I placed one of the fences there. The fence that I used is part of cats and dogs, and I actually used a lot of cats and dogs objects both for the exterior and interior for this build. Cats and Dogs is like the world of Cats and Dogs, Windermere Bay is located in New England. It has this kind of Cape Cod kind of feel to it, and it's also a perfect pack for really, really dreamy houses. And this fence is just perfect, and also the railing that is just matching the fence is just beautiful. I also used some Cats and Dogs windows. In the other windows, the bigger ones are part of the Moschino stuff pack. Actually, the Moschino stuff pack has some amazing stuff in it. I know it's kind of, not everyone likes it, but there are some amazing windows in this pack, and I think it's definitely not the worst stuff pack out there. And then I was building a separate building. This is like a pool house or something, and I decided to separate this little building into 2 floors. On the top floor there is a bedroom and a bathroom, so a butler could live there, or if your Sims have a guest over, it's like a pool house. And at the bottom I decided to include a ping pong table and a soccer table, just a room for recreation. And at first I wanted to label this as a family home, and it technically is because I included some kids' rooms, so this is technically a family home, but I didn't put a heavy focus on like kids activities or anything. So when you take a look at the garden, it's more of a luxurious garden for just hanging out at the pool and just having a barbecue. It doesn't look like a typical garden that you would expect for a family home probably, so I decided to at least turn the room at the bottom, the room of the pool house, into a room for recreation, just hanging out, having a bit of fun. So this is like perfect for kids, teenagers, or anything, or just any sim really. This is like a really fun room, and I thought it was a great idea to just separate this little house or building into 2 completely separate stories, so they aren't connected on the inside. I didn't place any stairs on the inside. Your Sims can walk in at the bottom, there's a door, and then they can take the stairs on the outside to just access the top floor basically. So I thought that this was like a good idea. I also decided to have the little room for the butler at the top, so there's like kind of more privacy. So the other room at the bottom is located right next to the pool that I'm about to build, because here at this point there isn't a pool yet. I just built the house, just the exterior. I just wanted to explain what's going on with the little pool house, and I think the whole aesthetic is kind of Cape Cod in a way. I don't know, it looks so dreamy, and I added more trellis to the pool house. For this I also used half wall, so you could create something like this using a fence. Like there is this very small tiny base game fence that can also be used for flower beds, for example. This one is perfect for trellis as well. You can add an exterior trim to a fence or to half walls. I think half walls are also a great option for Mediterranean builds, when you then just use a really dark wallpaper, for example, some wood. It's perfect for anything Mediterranean, but here it was also a great option in my opinion. And I actually made a small mistake when I built these trellis, and I didn't notice at first. So below the roof there is like the room below, and I had the problem that I expanded the trellis too far, so technically there wasn't a ceiling above, and then the light was just kind of off. So I had the exterior light on the inside inside the rooms. So I had to fix this later on, so make sure to not make the same mistake when you're building something like this. And I decided to go for this type of pool shape, and I wanted to include an area where your Sims can just hang out and sunbathe, and I decided to elevate a floor piece just so it looks more interesting, and this way I was also able to include a round shape. You guys know that I love round shapes. I just had to include a round shape just somewhere in this build. So this creates the illusion of a round pool or a rounded pool. I could have lowered this part a bit more, then the illusion is a bit stronger, but I wasn't really going for this here. I just wanted to have a really interesting area for sunbathing and hanging out. You can just add some stairs and your Sims will be able to walk up there. I mean, of course I did that here, just giving some advice if you want to build this yourself. So you just add some stairs and your Sims can walk up there and actually use this area. So I've explained this a million times at this point, but you simply build a room, you add a floor piece on top, then you delete the room at the bottom, and then you move your floor piece down, and this way you could create something like this, for example. And then I decided to use a debug object, a base game debug object, to just create some type of path that leads to the pool house. I don't know, I think the pool house is my favorite. Like, it looks so beautiful, maybe even more beautiful than the rest of the house or the build. I don't know, it would be perfect as some type of tiny build, just having this as a tiny build. Maybe I should do that, like a separate tiny build just consisting out of the pool house. Then I could just connect the different levels on the inside. This would be fun. I don't know, let me know what you think. I just noticed that this would be a fun idea maybe. And then I was working on the flower beds. I just used some rocks and a hedge, and I just wanted to have a really creative, beautiful flower bed. And eventually I decided to use some debug plants, some lavender, because I don't know, for some reason I just fell in love with the color purple recently, like pastel purple. I also used some pastel purple for one of my most recent builds. It looks so dreamy. I don't know, you just combine this color and with some white and some brown, and it looks so dreamy. It's just so perfect for really, really dreamy builds, my opinion. And the flowers that you can see that I'm now lowering into the ground using tool, these are also debug plants. I just stumbled upon them in the debug menu, to be honest. Also, there are some amazing news about Tool. Once again, there has been a new update. New functions were added to the mod, and some of you asked me if I could cover the new functions in a video for you guys, and I'm really lucky that I've put this off and that I was working on some other stuff, because I mean there's another update now, so this video would have been outdated already, but Twisted Maxi said that he's going to take a small break, so for now this is it. So I'm going to make a video soon about that if you want, so now I can just cover all the new functions. He has been working so hard. He added so many new functions to this mod. It's just amazing. And the latest star of the show is the function to copy debug objects. You can even group them. You can copy them, which is amazing. So I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying that they are now sold, because it's just amazing. Even if you don't want to create any crazy stuff, or if you don't want to manipulate objects for your build, this is just a really game-changing function to just copy debug objects. For anyone who has no idea about this, there is the debug menu and you can copy these objects, and this is kind of really annoying for a couple of reasons. First of all, copying is like the easiest and most simple way to just duplicate an item, of course, but the issue is also that most of the debug objects are just called debug, so you can't even search for them. Usually you can just memorize the name of an object, or that's what you do, like when you are using objects all the time, you just memorize their name at some point and you just enter it into the search bar, or you know where to find them. We have all these different categories in build mode, so even if you don't memorize the name, you just know where to find an object and how far to scroll down and all that. But for the debug menu, it's like one big mess, no names, no categories. It's all like you just have this scroll bar that is like so long, and you're just scrolling and scrolling. And I mean, at some point you kind of memorize how far you have to scroll when you're using them a lot, but it's always really annoying to just look up an object again and again. Maybe you place a bush from the debug menu, and then later on you notice you want a second or a third one, and you have to go back into the menu and you have to search for it for minutes sometimes. I don't know. And now we can just use the tool mod to copy debug objects. So even if you are not into manipulating objects for your build itself, this could be interesting for a lot of people. It's just amazing. And what I really appreciate about Twisted Maxi is he really listens to like the users of his bot. Like, he's constantly listening to us. This is just amazing. People are suggesting stuff on Twitter and he just tries to make it work. This is just wonderful. So I'm going to cover that in a video soon, and I just wanted to mention this because this is like, I was freaking out yesterday. Like, as soon as the new function was announced, I was like, oh my god. And I was talking to Sadie yesterday and she was like, oh my god, did you see this? And we were like freaking out together. So thank you to Twisted Maxi for constantly improving this mod. Thank you for your hard work, and I just wanted to mention this to you guys. If you like to clone debug objects, then this mod is just amazing. And also there are some exciting news. The Sims 4 Nifty Knitting stuff pack trailer just dropped. I just watched it and it's just amazing. I mean, now I'm really excited for the pack. It's just a stuff pack, and of course just like anyone probably. I'm most excited for expansion packs and game packs, but stuff packs can also be really, really nice. And from what I've seen, it's amazing. And the trailer itself is also just super fun, and the music or the editing, it's amazing. And I just can't wait for the pack. I'm going to build a cute granny cottage. This is what I have in mind for this, because, I mean, a expansion pack, for example, has a lot of new stuff for building, for exterior building, and just in general. This is just a stuff pack, but there will be a lot of cute objects for just furnishing, and I figured I'd just roll with it, and I'm just going to build a cute granny cottage. And this build here is like super dreamy, and this is what I have in mind, but I want to build a proper cottage, like nothing like this, but I want to have this dreamy kind of vibe, really scenic, really beautiful, and I just can't wait for the pack now. I feel so inspired. But I'm going to wait. I don't want to build a granny cottage now. I'm just going to be patient. The pack is going to drop on July 28th, and I'm just really, really excited. I just want some new content, to be honest, and I really want to build on a smaller lot this time. I know that I have a problem with building smaller, but when I build a cottage, I'm going to build on a smaller lot. But maybe not. I don't know. I'm going to try. I promise that I'm going to try, but maybe we're going to end up with a cottage on a huge lot. But in this case, I'm just going to use all the space for landscaping, which would also be super fun, because if you use a lot of flowers and just maybe the train tools, it could also be great to use a big lot, have some fun with the landscaping, and then there could be a small or small-ish cottage in the center. I don't know. I feel so inspired. I'm really looking forward to this. And talking about lot sizes and all that, a lot of people tell me that they just can't build huge mansions. They tell me they have no idea how I do it, and I'm just here and I think, how do you do it? Like, how do you build a beautiful tiny build, a beautiful medium-sized build? This is a wonderful talent, and like Miss Griffey, for example, she's such a talented builder, and I admire her tiny builds and anything she creates, and this is like so amazing to me. I feel like, I don't know, I like to build on big lots. I mean, it's a lot of fun to me, but at the same time, I feel like I need some space to make it look really good and to just create a showstopper, kind of. But some people really have a really, really tiny lot, and they still create a build that has such an interesting shape and so many details, and to me, this is like so difficult. So whenever people just tell me that they admire my talent to build huge mansions, I'm like, I admire what you can build. Like, it's amazing. And I don't know, I think every builder just has their own style and preferences and all that. I think there are not many who, like, I don't know, are all over the place, kind of. But yeah, I mean, that's great. So there's like a builder for any building style out there, basically. But let's talk about the interior. So for the interior, I used a lot of objects from cats and dogs, as I said earlier. I wanted to stay in the whole theme, and this pack is just perfect. Of course, I also used objects from other packs, but I used these rugs, for example. I never really noticed this rug, I guess. I don't know, I never really noticed this swatch. Like, for some reason, sometimes I only notice like the main swatch of an object, which doesn't make sense, because for a lot of objects, I just circle through all the different swatches using plus and minus on my numpad, and I just know all the different swatches. But for some objects, I never do that. Like, there's this base game lamp, this really, really basic, simple square lamp. And it comes in different swatches. I mean, of course it does, but I never noticed. Like this one, you can see it here, the black one. I've always used it in the golden swatch, and this is like a riddle for me. I don't know why I never checked the swatch. And the same happened for this beautiful gray rug, which is part of cats and dogs, I think. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if this is only me. I don't know. This is like weird. Why have I never checked the swatches? So also for the bedrooms, I used different beds that come with this pack, and the curtains, the lamps. So I used a lot of objects from this pack, and I wanted this to look really, really dreamy. And for me, this whole vibe of the pack, this whole Cape Cod kind of theme is just perfect for this. And I really wanted to make sure that the interior just matches the exterior. I've also started to work on the shell challenge, and it's going to be ready soon. So I've made one shell challenge in the past, and the problem was that all rules were over the place. So this time I want to make sure that this is like really, really understandable and simple. Like, I confused myself and all of you with all the different rules, and then I forgot to mention some other stuff. This was like the first time I ever made a shell challenge, and I've learned a lot the last time, luckily. And I also want to create something that's not too big, but kind of tricky. This is all I'm going to say. I want this to be a little bit challenging and fun and a little bit evil. I don't know. I really want to have something that's fun and a bit different. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly mention this because I had already teased this. And also I then squeezed in this house because I suddenly felt like building, and I had this idea, and I just wanted to finish this build for you guys. This is one of the other bedrooms. There are a lot of bedrooms in this house. I think like 6, I don't know, I'm not even sure anymore. I have to check. And there are a lot of bedrooms and bathrooms. I also built an indoor pool, so this is like really a proper mansion. Of course, I wanted to make sure, as always, that there's enough space for your Sims. And once again, I'm using a lot of objects from the pack. Just for the kids' rooms, I used stuff from other packs as well. Or more stuff from other packs. I wanted the kids' rooms to be really colorful and happy, as you just saw for the orangey one. This here, for example, this regular bedroom is like much more muted when it comes to the color palette. I really wanted to have some natural colors, and it's like really within the theme of the whole house. But the kids' rooms, as I always say, I just really want to have some fun color-wise in these rooms, so it's really happy and colorful. So I just use all kinds of different colors. I really like to do that. This is a lot of fun to me. I think nowadays, like in real life, the whole concept and the trend for kids' room designs have changed so much. Like when I was little, I had this wallpaper. There were some little bears on it and some balloons and clouds, so the bears were sitting on the clouds. It was really cute, and it was also quite colorful. And nowadays, when you like take a look at, I don't know, architectural websites, this kind of stuff, when you just look for inspiration and the current trends for interior design, all that stuff, a lot of kids' rooms are like super gray, even for babies. And I think this is kind of like a new trend. This wasn't really a thing back then, probably. And I think there's one really smart thing about this. When you keep the walls really, really neutral and all that, it's probably really easy to just change up the furniture later on as soon as the kid gets a bit older, so you don't have to renovate the whole room, because this is what happened when I was small. Like as soon as I got a little bit older, of course you just want to get rid of the wallpaper because you just feel like it's too childish. I mean, this is just how kids and preteens are and all that, and this is just what happens. So I think it just kind of makes sense. But I thought about this because I always use so many colors for my Sims builds, and I think colors are always fun, of course. And this here is the pool house. So this area here is perfect for a butler, or when you have some Sims over, they could stay there. It's basically just an extra bed. Or let's say you have a Sim who is a part of your family who got older, maybe a teenager or a young adult, and you don't want the Sim to move out yet. He or she could just move into this pool house, for example. There's also a bathroom included that I'm about to build. There's not a kitchen, so it's really just a place for sleeping and getting ready. But I think it would be perfect if you just have a butler, or maybe, as I said, a teenager. I think it's always great. And I loved OC California. The OC, I think it's called the OC in Germany, was OC California. So I was just obsessed with this show, and the pool house just reminds me of this show. And this is it, guys. As always, I've included a couple of screenshots so you can see the whole build here. You can find this build in the gallery. It's unmodded and CC free. And you can also make sure to check out my giveaway. You can win a Sims 4 pack of your choice. I'm going to link the video for that down below. It's the most extra mention speed build. So I'm going to put the link down below so you can check out the giveaway if you want to enter, or if you haven't entered yet. I hope you have a perfect day and week. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye.